Yes, I define myself as a graphic artist because I work more from an artistic perspective. My work is personal. It's, I mean, there's still a client involved and there's still an objective, but I bring much more of a fine art approach to that than I do as a designer. And also, it's a term that was abandoned by you know, the previous sort of generation of graphic designers. You know, people started out as graphic artists, and I identify more with the earlier designers who called themselves graphic artists than I do with contemporary designers. Well, I think different designers have different ways of working. I think they should have different ways of working. They have different interests. They have different things that make them happy. But I would like to see more designers, certainly young designers, bringing a personal perspective into it to get more individuality in the work that comes out into the world, and to get more variety and more expression coming back into design. I would like to see that, but certainly not for everybody. There are different agendas and different people, and that's the way it is. I think that my attraction to systems and you know, grids and structure probably comes from my early days as a typesetter. I started out as a book typesetter, and it was very rule bound. It's very rigid, and there's logic and there's order, and I think that's where it came from. And you know, I've brought that kind of stuff through to what I do today, and also it requires more thought, and I like thinking. That change in my life was a combination of having a midlife crisis. I turned 40, and you know, really imagining myself in my deathbed and seeing the work that I had done so far, and really feeling that it wasn't good enough. And also a disillusionment with graphic design, the way that it's generally practiced and the way that I was practicing it at that time. So I was determined to leave graphic design, which I didn't completely, but at the time I thought I was. And those two things together is what caused me to go in a new path. Well, the publication of I Wonder was, you know, it was so many things that I had been thinking about for a long time and wanting to do, and it was kind of like, I mean, I really felt after the book was published that I could die, and you know, that would be fine. I would be happy with having put that into the world. So although I'm not finished, you know, with my career or with the things that I have to say, it really was a kind of summing up of a lot of things that had been in my mind, and I'm, you know, I was just really happy to get it out there. I like working with different kinds of things and materials because it makes things interesting for me. I'm always experimenting. You know, I don't like to get stuck in one mode of working. I like to explore and expand, and the materials really help with that. And yes, I think that art can be made out of anything at all. I think this is mostly from a North American perspective. I think it's a little bit different in Europe. It seems to be a lot better in Europe, but still there is a kind of formula that has entered the world of graphic design and has made a lot of the work that we see today very, very similar, very, as I say, formulaic, almost templated. And I find that's really boring, and I think that's a problem. I think that everything starts to become very bland. So I would like to see people do more experimental things and have more surprise in the work that we see. Yes, that's my goal, is to create things that other people find worthwhile and they want to keep, and they want to look at them, and they get ideas from them, and they move on to other things. That's my goal.